Well, Mr. Blazer, I have one thing to say to you, sweetheart. When you said you destroyed us in 1988, we're still here. And we're not queer in a sense of being perverted. We might be queer, strange that we survived all your attacks, but we are still here. Amen. Now, back to my writing here. It says, this label, cult, once attached to a group by authority figures, marks it as a thing to be feared and despised. Call somebody a cult, automatically the public is supposed to fear and despise those people or that group of people. Could be just a few, could be a lot. As it has come to be used, cult is a term filled with slander, prejudice, and derision. Those in a cult are automatically judged as misguided and deceived at best, while at worst they are judged and demeaned, like putting down, and perverted. Demented. They call us demented people, demonized.
Then he went home, and the crowd gathered again, so that they could not even eat. And when his family heard it, they went out to seize him, for they were saying, "He is out of his mind." And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem were saying, "He is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the prince of demons he casts out the demon."
Demonized, perverted in our teachings. Well, it's funny that all of our enemies through the years have never once, ever once, mind you, give a Bible study on our beliefs. You can't find it anywhere where they point out that General Jim and my wife Deborah Green teaches false doctrine. It's always accusations, it's always threats, it's always these people did this to us, it's always those people hurt everybody. You know, honey, we hurt sin. That's what we attack. And if you're full of it, that's what we attack. So, they will not stand up and show anybody where we are teaching false doctrine out of the Bible. Okay, the leader of a cult is assumed to have devious motivations. They say, me and my wife are power hungry. Bob Blazer's made the statement that, the end of the world is coming and the generals are going to be in charge. Show me where I ever taught that. I have taught literally probably 8,000 or 9,000 messages. My wife, probably that many, off and on, through the years. Show me one time I ever said the end of the world is coming and we'll be in charge of it. But that's what they say about us. They say they're power hungry. They say they're just leech off the people and get wealthy. Or live with us a while and see how much wealth we have. It's kind of funny, this second lawsuit here in New Mexico, they can't even find a money trail on us. They've been trying 8 years to find out how we make money. I don't make money. I told them that. I don't have a penny to my name, and that's the truth. I don't own anything. We gave it up. That's part of our belief system, is giving it all to Christ. So, do we live off you? Do we live better than you? No. We eat the same food, wear the same clothes, do everything the same. We don't make a bunch of money. Anyway, these are all accusations here going on here about the wicked intentions. And an authority figure, whether it be government official or representative of law enforcement and high-ranking religious leader. We've dealt with all these people. We dealt with the FBI. We dealt with all governmental people at all levels in religion and in the state. We dealt with them all. Now, when the supposed 9/11 came and the government blew up those two buildings, murdered close to 3,000 people instead of the Muslims, the government did that. That was an inside job that I'll add to this list. All of a sudden, we were a terrorist group out here at Fence Lake making bombs. Because someone drove by out here on the highway and saw the lights on early in the morning. Well, how many people live in the country to get up early and turn lights on? But no, it's us. We were making bombs, so guess what? The FBI had to come out here and investigate. They came in here and just were shaking their heads, said, look, we got to do this. This was reported. I know it probably ain't true. Okay, they came once, wasn't satisfied. They came again. They came here twice. The second time they came, we finally got word back. They took us all the way to the State Department in the United States government, researched us thoroughly, and guess what they found? Nothing.
money selling homemade bread and Southwest-style furniture.
They found absolutely nothing that we were doing wrong. Of all these years of people saying we carry guns, we starve children, we burn children, we put people to death, we lock people up, we beat babies with belts, I mean, we break up families, we make people get married, we make people get divorced, I mean, it goes on and on and on. They found absolutely nothing wrong with us. That's the FBI. And the FBI agent was happy to report to me that they found absolutely nothing. He said, you people must be doing something that gets people angry at you. The only thing they get angry with us is preaching out of the Bible. Backsliders, hypocrites, liars, and the very woman that started this whole thing is now a practicing Buddhist and probably a drunkard. I know she visits the wine places. So what do you go to wine places for unless you taste the wine? Now, she's in a Buddhist cult and she still claims we're a cult, a dangerous cult. She just switched gods from Jesus Christ to Buddha. Mass media imprints in the minds of people about mind control, brainwashing. You know, this is so old I hate to even repeat some of this stuff. I do believe there's mind control. I do believe there's brainwashing. I believe that that can be done on drugs or otherwise. I mean, that's what I work at. I work at brainwashing people. I admit it. I admit trying to brainwash people to believe in Jesus is the only God. I've been trying it for 40 years. And of course, the top, I don't know if he's still there, but he was a top deprogrammer in America, dear old Rick Ross. Had his hand on killing the people. Waco, our arch enemy, claims from a scale to 0 to 10, we're at 10. That means the highest you can go of people that's successful in brainwashing people. Well, to me, that's a compliment. It's not quite true. I mean, he did it in a derogatory sense to make us look like we're just these crazy people. But I wish it was true. I wish we could do that. I wish we could brainwash people and control their mind where they would have the mind of Christ. I mean, that's what we work at. But unfortunately, most people we've dealt with don't have any brains. What do you work with? A few marbles up in your head? That's about it, some of these idiots we've worked with. But anyway, according to them, that's where we are at. We're the best brainwashers in all America of all the cults. We got the belt. You know, the big belt for the wrestlers. Okay, suddenly everybody knows who to point the finger at. The very accusation carries with it condemnation. As to be expected, the accused group becomes even more defensive and wary outside of scrutiny. The group's defensiveness and increasing security or secrecy, on the other hand, is interpreted by the status quo as evident of guilt. You know, this is absolutely funny. Forgive me for getting off the subject a little bit from what I had planned. You don't even know what I had planned, so it don't matter. This crap of being secret and secluded. Now, like I said, when 1999, when 2000 was ready to come in, the new millennium, you watched the YouTube, you watched Darren White, the newscaster that was a sheriff, that was high in the state police department, all this stuff. You watch him, and he's got up on his board behind him. He did many sessions there in 1999 telling us about the doomsday cult. You'll see it on there, and then you used to see the big word cult with a question mark, and they were flying over here, photographing everything, showing a big building, showing our place. And they did this many times, and they'll go back to the little station, put all this together, that we are secluded. We fit in that profile of seclusion. Well, let me recall to you a little bit of history before I get into seclusion, because this is one of their big deals, that all cults are usually secretive and secluded. Well, I grant you, we're secretive, and we don't tell you jackasses everything we do. And I'm not about to. In that sense, it's true. When we started this cult called ACMTC, the Cult of the Living God, we were in the middle of Sacramento, California. We owned half of a block in the middle of Sacramento. We owned 4 houses that all merged into one. They all were together. We owned that. There's where we started Fort Freedom. This is where we started this cult brainwashing operation. We lived in the inner city. How in the world could we be secluded? After the $20 million lawsuit made up by Morris Smear and Bob Blazer to demonize us, we went to Oregon. And guess what? We went to Oregon and lived right smack dab in the middle. What was the name of that place we lived at? Klamath Falls. Right out of California, right across the border, right into Klamath Falls, Oregon. And we bought some houses there. Well, they were bought for us because we were broke. Somebody bought some houses for us. We fixed them up. We fixed up a big, beautiful building, and we lived there, and we was right in the middle of the city. And here they come from Sacramento, Channel 13 with their cameras, going on another cult hunt. They didn't leave us alone. They came in one day particularly, running up to the house, screaming, "Don't commit suicide! Come out! Don't commit!" They was hysterical. We weren't hysterical. They were, because they had made up their mind we were going to commit suicide. For what reason? What's the reason of committing suicide? Hell no, I'm not going to commit suicide. That's murder. Well, they did it anyway. Well, it didn't come to pass. We didn't commit suicide. And of course, the whole mob mentality follows there. We was under their harassment for 3 years, or 2 years we lived there. But we were not secluded. Right in the middle of town, we had a big, beautiful 3-story restaurant right there, right in the middle of town. Everybody knew us. We walked the streets. We were not hidden out somewhere in some compound. We were right there. We didn't even have a fence around our houses in those days. But we didn't fit their profile, but they still said, we're secretive and we're secluded. When we moved from there to Breno, New Mexico, guess what, my sweetheart? We live right in the middle of Breno. Now, it isn't very big, and mostly drunkards and drug addicts live there. Of course, it's a good mission field, but guess what? We still have a mission there. We don't have even a fence around the place. Cops were always there in our parking lot, watching us under surveillance, right in the middle of town. We weren't secluded. We talked to cops dozens of times. Some of you old, bitter women sent the cops on us all the time. "You got my kid locked up in there." Well, we weren't secluded. When we moved to Fence Lake up here, this is more secluded, but it's only a quarter mile off a main highway, and for years we didn't even have a gate on our driveway. Anybody could see our place from the highway out there. All of a sudden, because we live in the country, we're secluded. Well, hell, who isn't secluded out in the country? You go down in Fence Lake here, up and down these roads here, and you see how many gates are up on people's property. Are they a cult? Are they hiding from somebody? Or they want to keep people out? We're the only people that didn't have a gate up on our driveway for years. And all of a sudden, we're these secluded people. Now back to my story when they flew around their stupid helicopters, flying around, even filming the people way up here on this hill behind us here, saying, those people are even dug in, waiting for the end of the world to come. End of the world? I never taught the end of the world. I never once said the end of the world is coming in 2000. In fact, 1995 to on 2000, I was tearing that myth to pieces, that there is not going to be the end of the world. No one's going to be in charge of anything. The world is going to go on as it always has. It's just going to get worse. I'm right. They were all wrong. But to hear the newscasters tell it, we dug in, we're waiting for the end of the world, and we're going to all commit suicide.
Style furniture. Could they be planning a mass suicide?
This is how it goes. Now, this is all part of being labeled a cult. Mistrust and hostility escalates between accusers, the status quo of society, and accused, the so-called deviant group or cult. That dirty C word. It's as bad as, if not worse than the F word these days. Now, when those two darlings were on the National Geographic TV show in April of 2012, they was on 3 weekends in a row telling their pathetic boohoo story that we made them beat their babies with belts at 6 months old, that we locked this old bitter hag up in a shed for 6 months and gave her no bath.